Sir James Paul McCartney CHMBE, born June 18, 1942, is an English singer, songwriter and musician who gained worldwide fame with the Beatles, for whom he played bass guitar and shared primary songwriting and lead vocal duties with John Lennon. One of the most successful composers and performers of all time, McCartney is known for his melodic approach to bass playing, versatile and wide tenor vocal range, and musical eclecticism. Exploring styles ranging from pre-rock and roll pop to classical and electronica. His songwriting partnership with Lennon remains the most successful in history. Born in Liverpool, McCartney taught himself piano, guitar and songwriting as a teenager, having been influenced by his father, a jazz player, and rock and roll performers such as Little Richard and Buddy Holly. He began his career when he joined Lennon's skiffle group, the Quarrymen, in 1957, which evolved into the Beatles in 1960. Sometimes called the Cute Beatle, McCartney later involved himself with the London avant-garde and spearheaded the incorporation of experimental aesthetics into the Beatles' studio productions. Starting with the 1967 album Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, he gradually became the band's de facto leader, providing the creative impetus for most of their music and film projects. Many of his Beatles songs, including And I Love Her, Yesterday, Eleanor Rigby, and Blackbird, rank among the most covered songs in history. While primarily a bassist with the Beatles, in various songs he played a number of other instruments, including keyboards, guitars, and drums. After the Beatles disbanded, he debuted as a solo artist with the 1970 album McCartney and formed the band Wings with his first wife, Linda, and Denny Laine. Led by McCartney, Wings was one of the most successful bands of the 1970s, and he wrote or co-wrote their US or UK #1 hits My Love, Band on the Run, Listen to What the Man Said, Silly Love Songs, and Mull of Kintyre. He resumed his solo career in 1980 and has toured as a solo artist since 1989. Without Wings, his UK or US #1 hits have included Uncle Albert / Admiral Halsey with Linda. Coming up, Pipes of Peace, Ebony and Ivory with Stevie Wonder, and Say 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 with Michael Jackson. Beyond music, he has taken part in projects to promote international charities related to such subjects as animal rights, seal hunting, land mines, vegetarianism, poverty, and music education. McCartney has written or co-written a record 32 songs that have topped the Billboard Hot 100 and, as of 2009, had sales of 25.5 million RIA certified units in the US. His honors include 2 inductions into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a member of the Beatles in 1988 and as a solo artist in 1999. An Academy Award, a Primetime Emmy Award, 18 Grammy Awards, an appointment as a member of the Order of the British Empire in 1965 and a knighthood in 1997 for services to music. As of 2020, he is one of the wealthiest musicians in the world, with an estimated fortune of £800 million. McCartney was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1988 as a member of the Beatles and again as a solo artist in 1999. In 1979, the Guinness Book of World Records recognized McCartney as the most honored composer and performer in music, with 60 gold discs, 43 with the Beatles, 17 with Wings, and as a member of the Beatles, sales of over 100 million singles and 100 million albums, and as the most successful songwriter, he wrote jointly or solo 43 songs which sold 1 million or more records between 1962 and 1978. In 2009, Guinness World Records again recognized McCartney as the most successful songwriter, having written or co-written 188 charted records in the United Kingdom, of which 91 reached the top 10 and 33 made it to #1. Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder perform Ebony and Ivory at a concert at the White House in 2010. McCartney has written or co-written 32 #1 singles on the Billboard Hot 100, 20 with the Beatles, 7 solo or with Wings, 1 as a co-writer of A World Without Love, a #1 single for Peter and Gordon, 1 as a co-writer on Elton John's cover of Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, 1 as a co-writer on Stars on 45's Medley, 1 as a co-writer with Michael Jackson on Say Say Say, and 1 as writer on Ebony and Ivory performed with Stevie Wonder. As of 2009, he has 15.5 million RIA certified units in the United States as a solo artist plus another 10 million with Wings. Credited with more #1s in the UK than any other artist. McCartney has participated in 24 chart-topping singles, 17 with the Beatles, 1 solo, and won each with Wings, Stevie Wonder, Fairy Aid, Band Aid, Band Aid 20 and The Christians et al. He is the only artist to reach the UK #1 as a soloist, Pipes of Peace, duo Ebony and Ivory with Wonder, trio Mull of Kintyre, Wings, quartet She Loves You. The Beatles, quintet Get Back, The Beatles with Billy Preston and as part of a musical ensemble for charity Fairy Aid. Yesterday is one of the most covered songs in history with more than 200 recorded versions, and according to the BBC, the track is the only one by a UK writer to have been aired more than 7 million times on American TV and radio and is third in the all-time list. And is the most played song by a British writer, last century in the US. His 1968 Beatles composition, Hey Jude, achieved the highest sales in the UK that year and topped the US charts for 9 weeks. Which is longer than any other Beatles single. It was also the longest single released by the band and, at 7 minutes 11 seconds, was at that time the longest #1. Hey Jude is the best-selling Beatles single, achieving sales of over 5 million copies soon after its release. In July 2005, McCartney's performance of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, with U2 at Live 8 became the fastest-released single in history. Available within 45 minutes of its recording, hours later it had achieved #1 on the UK official download chart. In December 2020, the release of his album McCartney 3 and its subsequent charting at #2 on the US Billboard 200 earned McCartney the feat of being the first artist to have a new album in the top 2 chart positions in each of the last 6 decades.